A flooded home or business is never easy to deal with. The memories that are lost that you cannot replace. And Aquadam can be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home or business from the hurricane storm surge or the king tides. Look us up online at aquadam.net or give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119. We can help.
Consider advertising on the Opperman Report. We have excellent advertising rates for you. The advertising rates are very affordable. Once your ad goes up and we play the show on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, those ads stay up there forever. And then we play repeats every single night of classic Opperman Report shows. And your new ads will be inserted into those repeats that play every single night. So the saturation is incredible, and the rates are very affordable. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com, or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Contact KMD Law. Emailrevealer.com. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. Hey guys, if you like the show and you want to show your support, check out the Opperman Report Patreon. We have all the shows that you hear Monday through Friday on AM/FM radio, but we cut out the ads, so you can hear that content ad-free. The Opperman Report Patreon, you should stop there once a day and check out what's going on over there. That's Opperman Report Patreon.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, got it. Okay. Welcome, one and all, children of all ages. Welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Yeah, it's 10 long years. It's like a 10-year sentence doing this show. I get out on good behavior. I get out on parole. Welcome to the show. I'm your host. You can find me at Opperman Investigations, Digital Forensic Consulting. Just email me directly at Opperman Investigations or at Patreon. Opperman Report Patreon. Put up some great new content up there today. Spreaker is where our archives are. If you go to Spreaker.com, what do you call it? It's a chat room. You get an email notification when we put out new content. I play repeats every single night. We put up live content every Friday night. And how do we tell when the shows are live? They play repeats. I don't know what's going on. Friday night. How simple is that? Get a calendar. What day is it? Do you know what day it is? It's Friday. That's when the new content comes out. I do a live show Friday, 2 brand new shows every Friday night. Simple as that. Oh, no. Oh, there's repeats. I don't know what to do. Oh, my goodness. What do you do? What do you do when I'm gone? That's what I want to know. How do you guys function? Wait, I'm not here to tell you what to do every minute of the freaking day. When I'm not here to be emailed and messaged all day long. What are you going to do? Anyway, the live shows are on Friday. The Spreaker.com. That's where I have all the archives. And if you share the show with anybody, don't share the YouTube, don't share the Apple place. Share the Spreaker. I get paid 10% more on the ads on Spreaker. So if you can help me out and share some ads, that would be a big, 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 big favor. Also, too, if you can help me out and become a member over at Patreon. Guess what? If you were a member of Patreon for as little as 10 cents a day, you could find out all the shows when they're new and when they're repeats. You could figure everything out. It's all right there, right in front of you, right in front of your beady little eyes. And if you go to our Patreon, right, and we definitely, desperately need Patreon to stay on the air right now. Guys, it's hit and miss here, man. It's touch and go. I'm living day to day, man. Okay, we need some Patreon. If you want to hear me next week, we got to get some Patreons. I did an interview with the great May Pang, who was the girlfriend of John Lennon. That's probably going to be exclusive to Patreon. It's only 20 minutes long. She just did this film, and it's called The Lost Weekend, A Love Story, right? And they sent me an advance screener. Don't contact me. I cannot share the screener because it's tied to my email, and then they text me a link. It's a whole thing, the code. It's impossible to share with anybody, okay? Normally when I can share them, I'll share them. This one I can't. Excellent film. There's a lot of video footage in this film I've never seen before of John Lennon, his personal life, of Julian Lennon, the family, picnics and stuff. And I was shocked how much more there was to this story. And I had May Pang on for 2 hours. I played the repeat this week. This 20-minute interview, we don't get into a lot. What can my pre-interviews, when I get someone like May Pang, we would talk for 20 minutes before we started recording. I've known her for how many years? We would be talking before. And then what happened was, I told them I need 51 minutes, but they did one of those all-day long interview things. She had like 12 interviews in one day. So I only had 20 minutes. They only gave me 20 minutes. And I says, okay, fine, I'll do it. I want to help you promote the movie. It's coming out on October 13th. I want to support you. And the first time she was on the show, she did this at this public appearance, and I promised, I said, May Pang, you come on my show, I will fill that concert venue there. She was being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the ambassador of rock. And I said, I promise you I'll fill up that joint for you, man. And everyone in there was saying, hey, we bet you from the Opera Report, we heard you on the Opera Report. And she was like, oh, so thrilled and excited that I was able to do that. Because she thought I was pulling her May Pang chain, but it wasn't. So when you watch this film, what's it called again? It's called The Lost Weekend, A Love Story. Julian Lennon is in it, May Pang is in it, and then the rest is like all archival footage. It's very honest, an honest portrayal of Yoko Ono that you don't often find. People are afraid of Yoko Ono. I don't blame them, okay? I had a guest booked to come on the show to talk about Yoko Ono, and he was arrested. It was a violation of his probation, his parole. So that's a rough game there, when you're messing with Yoko Ono. And the film was very honest in its portrayal of the involvement of Yoko Ono in this whole situation. So I assumed that May Pang would be more bold this time and willing to talk about more things in public about Yoko Ono, but she was not. And as a matter of fact, as soon as I started bringing it up, you could see the tension, pick up right away. The show's right now. It's up in Patreon. You can get in there for $3. You can listen to it. And then usually what people do is when they get in for $3 right away, they upgrade to $5 that same day. And then we have a few people who want to support my work and my life and help me out here. And they'll spend $10 or $20, $50 a month. Okay. Now, there was an issue. They only gave me 20 minutes. And then when I'm waiting to do the interview, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is going by, and they contact me finally. They says, hey, what's going on? And they says, oh, we're having technical problems over here with the previous interview. And I says, well, look, I still got 20 minutes, right? They go, oh, yeah, no problem. You got 20 minutes. So, and I'm sitting there on hold listening to the music. And finally when they pick up, it's like in the old days when I used to sit on hold to do an appearance, to do a call-in segment on a radio talk show. It felt like that. It felt very it's makes you nervous, when you're on hold waiting to talk and they're playing, you're waiting for the host to pick up. So it was like that, and it was late, and so we went right into it, and then I asked some tough questions, and it went not so good. Okay, but the average person wouldn't be able to tell. I'm sure they'll just think it's an average interview with May Pang. Did another interview this week with Radio Gunk, Monique from Radio Gunk. Hey, check it out, man. She's got a really good YouTube podcast going on there. On YouTube, it's Radio Gunk 100, and then all over the place on all the podcast platforms, it's Radio Gunk, where she talks about the Howard Stern show. And I really enjoyed that interview, That was a fun interview this week. I've only had a few fun ones. I interviewed Rob Zeidman. Now, he's the fellow. He's a digital forensic investigator. I don't think he's a digital forensic investigator. He's like a digital forensic expert. He's an expert witness, and he develops software and stuff like that. And he accepted the Mike Lindell challenge. Mike Lindell claimed that he had proof that the voting machines were compromised by China. He accepted the challenge. Mike Lindell said, I'll give you $5 million if you can prove me wrong. And he said, okay, I'll come down there and I'll prove you wrong. And they had a bunch of IT guys, but he was like seemed to be the most credentialed there. Before the interview, I had not really checked him out, but afterwards, I've talked to some people back in Vegas who know this man very, very well. He's very, very respected expert witness and software developer, and he's an author and a poker player and all this kind of stuff. The day I just interviewed him, it was like yesterday. And it's a fun interview. We had a good time. We talked about Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is the MyPillow guy who was actually got into the White House, and they zoomed in on his folder, and he has paperwork in there about how to declare martial law and seize the voting machines. And since then, we've watched this guy fall apart, and he reneged on his $5 million payoff to our friend here, Rob Zeidman. And Zeidman took him to court, to arbitration, actually, and he's won so far. And it turns out the very next day, Mr. Mike Lindell goes on TV today, and he says, I'm broke. I can't even pay my lawyers. My lawyers just, look, they withdrew from the case because I haven't paid them in months. I don't have a dime left. Poor Rob Zeidman. What bad news to hear the day after being on the... so ironic. The day after you appear on the Opperman Report, you wind up broke. Okay? And good old Mike Lindell, because the expression, go woke, go broke. So and since he's broke, that must mean he's woke. Now, I don't make the rules. But they made the rules. If you go woke, you go broke. He's broke. He must be woke. And that's ironic, right? Mr. Mike Lindell turns out to be woke, considering he's the guy that sells pillows that you sleep on. And he's woke and broke. Now, what was the other thing about Mike Lindell? Ooh, I'm losing my train of thought. It was important. Oh, here it is, yeah. Rob Zeidman, at one point, I'm talking to him. Listen carefully. Listen very closely. When I'm making a joke about the pillows, and I says, hey, go to mypillow.com, promo code lumpy pillows, okay? And he laughs, right? And then he starts saying, actually, I have the pillows and I have the slippers, and they're really good products, and I love the slippers, and everyone should go out and buy them. And I listened to this, and you can hear me hesitate, because I'm thinking I'm going to call him out on this, man. We got along good in the pre-interview. He understands my sense of humor. I'm going to call this guy out, because clearly he's saying that the pillows are good and he likes the slippers because he wants people to go out and buy the pillows and the slippers so that Mike Lindell has enough money to pay him the $5 million he owes him. Okay. And that's why I said that on White. I said, should I call this guy out or should I not? And I didn't call him out. But I figured I'd tell you about it, and you'll enjoy listening to the pause. Okay. It'll make the pause, okay, all the more fun. Okay, when you get to that point there. It's not up in Patreon yet, but it will be, in the next day or two. I'm taping tomorrow, too, with John Hankey, who did that documentary about RFK. He's a very popular filmmaker. And as a matter of fact, I was contacted a few times this week by fans of his saying, hey, you have to get John Hankey back on the show. And coincidentally, it turns out John Hankey just completed another film. I got to watch it in the morning for an interview, but I'll get that done for you. Don't you worry. I fulfill my end of this bargain. All I ask is for a little help and support, sharing the shows and becoming patrons. 10 cents a day. I know it's a lot to ask. 10 cents is a lot to ask. Lila Micklethwait, the Pornhub woman filing suits against Pornhub all the time. She's interview is up there, ad-free up in Patreon. Sander Hicks, Slingshots of the Juggernaut. He's the guy that dug up, he was a publisher, and dug up all that dirt on George W. Bush and Rudy Giuliani. I really enjoy Sander Hicks, and I got to publicly apologize to the guy. Back when I was running Awake Radio, I contacted him and I says, hey, do you want a slot to do a radio show? And he would get back to me and he'd say, oh, yeah, I'm ready to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And I never got back to him. I was just going through such a horrible depression at the time. I've had so many struggles, over the past 10 years. And that was just a really bad period of my life. And poor Xander Hicks didn't deserve that at all. Brilliant guy, does brilliant work, talented man, is on the right side of history there, man. And good old Ed Opperman is too self-absorbed to get a hold of him. Crash Barry, who's a podcaster, an excellent podcast, this fellow here, journalist, and we dissected the whole bone-faced Laura Loomer controversy. Boneface is this Florida neo-Nazi. He was an ex-neo-Nazi. They kicked him out. They had a little trial and kicked him out there. And he was protesting on the bridge, and Laura Loomer just happens to be driving by. That happens all the time. People just happen to be driving by, like that movie Falcon and the Snowman. People just happen. That happens all the time. Obscure, well-respected authors just happen to trash Ed Opperman. There's about 100 people there just waiting right there to like their posts and start creating fake accounts, and they have all kinds of things just all set up there. It all happens all the time. So that's what happened with Laura Loomer and this Nazi CIA character. Oh, CIA? That's interesting. Intelligence operatives? Oh, my goodness. Is that possible? It turns out this one's a fraud, though. Not like others. Sean Howe comes on my show. Agents of Chaos, Thomas King Facade, High Times, and the Paranoid End of the 70s. I know all these guys we talk about on the show. We get into all the stuff about Tom Fassade's suicide that's come into question. And how his wife at the time was actually not the spokesperson, but she was the conduit for the SLA. They would release their tapes to her, and then she would broadcast them. So there was some kind of a connection there. And Tom Fassade, of course, created High Times Magazine. Full disclosure, I lived at the Tom Fassade Multimedia Center at 10 Bleecker Street, the nightclub we had over there. Oh, boy. Back in my late teens, I was like 18 years old. No, I had to be even younger than that, like 17, 18 years old when I was down there. So that we talk about a lot of stuff there, and some stuff came up too about Tom Fassade's connections to Robert Evans and Process Church and all these characters and stuff like that. And Larry Flint, and Larry Flint's bodyguard is the one who murdered Robert Evans. So we get into some of that, and then by some weird, wild coincidence, I'm playing it tonight. I interviewed David Livingston, and he starts bringing up all that stuff, and his stuff is more historical. He's into all these secret societies and the occult, but he starts getting into Process Church and stuff like that. Gonna have him come back soon. Excellent information from Mr. David Livingston there, and also David Sean Howe, I think it is. Scroll up. Sean Howe. St. John Hunt, there's a repeat of an old St. John Hunt interview. St. John Hunt is the son of E. Howard Hunt. He was in that film there with Woody Harrelson. His real life, he was portrayed in that film. And I had him on back when nobody had him on, back a long time ago. 2017 it says, but I know it's before then. That was like the repeat. He went to work for Roger Stone there as Roger Stone's ghostwriter there for a while. I don't think people know about that. Anyway, a bunch of stuff out there. His mother was murdered, too. She was in a plane crash while delivering some Watergate payoff money. Alyssa Fleck, talk about the Saeed case, and that's up in Patreon, and my goodness, man, what a controversy. She was talking about that, what was that thing? I didn't really follow the case. The case against Adnan Syed, the one that Bob Ruff claims all this expertise as being an arson investigator because he worked with his volunteer fire department up near Benton Harbor, Michigan. You know, we have friends up there at Benton Harbor, Michigan, so I looked into all this. It's one little station with a couple of trucks, maybe 30 guys. They responded to 50 fires in a year, okay? And I could only find 2 arsons in that whole area. They have a real fire department besides this volunteer fire department where he was a chief there for a while, for a short period of time, too, not a long period of time. So he comes on my show and he tells me, I use my investigative expertise from investigating arson investigations to work on cold cases, and I cracked this Saeed case. So before I looked into it, I just nodded my head. I said, okay, well, that makes sense. You have some investigative experience. You're investigating arsons. Okay, you're the chief of fire department. My goodness. And then I started looking at arsons in this area in like in a 10-year period. It's like 2 arsons in the whole joint. Okay, it's 2. And I emailed him. I says, hey, how many arsons were there? They don't even get back to me, man, because they're all friends of his. We're drinking buddies. So what do you call it? There's 2 arsons I could find. One was a guy who walked into his parents' house with a can of gasoline right in front of them and poured gasoline. They got into a fight with his wife, and they don't want to give him a ride home, whatever. And he pours gasoline in the middle of his parents' house, and he says, that took some investigation. Let me tell you, that was like investigating a Zodiac killer, all the forensics and the clues that went into that, That's my son. Well, no, we need to investigate this arson. Well, we don't even know if Bob Ruff investigated that at all. We need to investigate this. Well, it was my son. Oh, investigation closed. Case closed. Another one. Another one solved. And the other one was this couple who went into Walmart and set some coats on fire. Again, there's video cameras in there. Who knows what the details of that are. That might have been a little tougher to crack. You start cracking murder cases, man. Cold case murders. The case of the burnt coat. Oh my God! Oh, then we have a repeat, Kathleen Geringer, because when I did that interview with Livingston and Mr. Sean Howe about Tom Forsyth, I played all the old stuff about Mr. Wick, about the murder of Roy Radin, the Cotton Club murder, and then I played the interview we did with Bill Mentzer's private investigator, Mr. Spurl. And then this woman, Kathleen Geringer, who was Bill Mentzer's girlfriend at the time, was like his so-called alibi witness. She came on the show, like pretty much reading a script. But still, it's interesting content. We have that up there too. I'm involved with all these people. It's nice to have. So that's pretty much it. What's going on with all the archives and all the stuff there? Let's see how we're doing on time. 23 minutes. Oh, my goodness. And I got so much notes. I may go over. And I may actually do like an additional little show, solo type show this week and put it up in the members section for you. Let's see. I really want to get into this. Is Trump incontinent to stand trial? One time I'm standing online at the supermarket, right? And this is back in Vegas. And Vic was little. She was still like 5 or 6 years old. I think she might have been so little she was in the shopping cart. So that would have been like 3 or 4. And there was a long line to get through the line. They were on this line for a long time. And it might have been Costco now that I think of it. And there was an old woman in front of me. And I noticed she was like fidgeting around, and there was people in front of her. We were in this line for a long time. And then I noticed her bladder broke and she started urinating on the line there. And she was devastated. She was so embarrassed, and she was trying to, hurry up and check out real fast and sign the paperwork and get out of there. Write a check or whatever it was, pay the payment. And I saw, And so what I did was I grabbed a big bottle of water out of, how when you're checking out, there's that little cooler right there where you can get waters. And I looked in there and I saw a big one. And I went there and I went back to my shopping cart and I took the cap off and I fumbled with it, so that it flipped around a couple of times and fell on me, poured on me, poured on the, and poured all over the floor. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Look what I did. I made a big giant mess here, with this water. We need somebody to come by with a mop, so that the woman wouldn't be embarrassed, that she had just urinated all over herself and on the floor. And I even made sure that some got on my lap too, and it would look like, because I know some, she had stains on her pants I could see. Incontinence, where you can't hold your bladder and you have to wear an adult diaper. Okay. You might know that there's a stand-up comedian now. He worked on The Apprentice. I forget his name. Costner or something like that. And he claims that Trump wears a diaper and Trump is incontinent. I have a friend who's covering this trial in New York right now, this fraud trial where Trump was ordered to, he already lost by summary judgment that he's guilty of defrauding the banks and defrauding the insurance companies, inflating his property values. And what I heard from a friend of mine who's a reporter down there covering this there every day is I heard that Trump is making frequent breaks, sometimes every 15 minutes from the courtroom. He's leaving. And when he comes out, the reporters will say to him, hey, Mr. Trump, are you leaving? You're coming back? He goes, oh, and he pretends he's on his phone or something like that, but then he always goes to the bathroom and comes back out. And also, too, when you see these, and actually, they changed, when he would come out the first day, he was doing a little press conference right there in front of the doors. And they changed it so he's like on a balcony, that the press is a little further away, because what I heard was the first day you could smell odors coming from Trump. And if you look at the faces, especially that first day of, what's her name, Abba, and his male attorney, I think his name is Ortiz or Cortez, something like that. And you see their faces, and they don't want to be there, and they're making this face. He's a little sweaty, and he's a little, and she's making this disgusted face. And when I first saw this, I thought it was because they were so disgusted and uncomfortable by the things Trump was saying. But what I'm understanding now is that they're so close to him, and he's got these odors, and also too they had McDonald's Big Macs and stuff delivered that first day. That's what he ate, and you know what that does to you, especially a man his age. So there's that issue. And I had said the other day that I believe Trump is incompetent to stand trial. And as you know, I've dealt with this before. I've had clients who were declared incompetent. Every client must be competent, have a clear enough mind and capability and understanding of their case and what's going on in the courtroom that they can assist in their own defense. Now, when Trump and his family saw that order, they immediately started misquoting the order. I did a whole show about it last week. You can go back and find it. The judge said that in 2011 to 2020, the Palm Beach assessors assessed the value of Mar-a-Lago between $18 and $27 million. And it started out with Eric Trump. He made a post on Twitter saying that the judge is declaring that the property is only worth $18 million. Even the assessors assessed it, Palm Beach, at between 18 and 27. 18 back in 2011, by the way. Let's make that clear. No one on Earth, in the planet, no one anywhere, not even the Palm Beach assessors, is saying it's worth 18 today. Only Eric and the dad and the brother are saying this. Don Jr., Don Sr., and Eric are the only people on the planet making that up. And the judge even went the next day and he went to the press and he says, please stop reporting that I'm saying it's worth $18 million. Of course I'm not saying that. It's probably worth about $100 million. But even if it is worth $100 million, Trump at the time was saying it was worth $600 million. Now he's saying it's worth $1 billion. Okay? And Eric Trump posted these Zillow comps, saying, look at this place. This one's worth $60 million. This one's worth $50 million. Okay, fine, man. They're saying this is worth $100 million. Even when there's deed restrictions, it can only be used as a club. You can't make any changes to the outside. It's a historic building. You can't build houses on it. You can't change the property that much, okay? There's deed restrictions. If it were to be sold for a private residence, let's say they can change the deed restrictions. It's not going to be used as a club. It's going to be used as a private residence. And as Trump's affidavit witness, his opinion witness said, well, I could dream up Elon Musk would want to buy it or Bill Gates would want to buy it. So he's dreaming up potential purchasers with this figure of $1 billion. But if they were to sell it as a private residence, then all of those club memberships would have to be repaid. They would have to pay back everyone who's a member. They would have to pay back their dues that they could no longer use the property. Okay? All right? So that's a liability. All right, guys? This is how the way it works. So, but Trump is coming out saying, and this judge says it's only worth $18 million. It's worth $1 billion. Now, if I were the judge right then and there, I would have called Trump in for a contempt of court hearing, sat him down on the stand and says, Mr. Trump, do you think, you read the order, do you think that order says that Judge Errigan, whatever his name is, says that this values this property at $18 million? Is that what you honestly think? And if Trump were to say he honestly thinks that, then he's not competent to stand trial. He's not competent to assist in his defense if he really believes that. Okay? If not, he's lying. And the case is about him lying in these documents. As a matter of fact, just today, his former accountant testified that he was told to lie to the IRS. He was told this by Alan Weisselberg. Just testified today. Today's Friday. 10/6, October 6th. But what's even scarier is at the end of the day, I think it was that first day, Trump came out and he says, well, the judge was very fair at the end of the trial today. He said something that was very fair to me. He said that he was going to agree with us about the statute of limitations, which would remove 80% of our liabilities in this case. Statute of limitations mean, hey, this crime or this debt or this incident happened so long ago. Okay, if you have a statute of limitations on debt, okay, if you have unsecured debt, it's about 7 years. Each state is different. Okay, it's about 7 years. There's a statute of limitations on a bankruptcy. How long can it appear in your credit report? So you have a statute of limitations on criminal cases because, I'm being charged with something that happened 10 years ago. What the hell? My witnesses are dead. I don't have those records anymore. We had a fire. There was a flood. I don't know. What do you have to, now you charge me now? What happened? Why didn't you come get me 10 years ago when I could defend myself? I can't defend myself to these charges. And the courts have ruled, they've made a law, a statute saying that you're right. That's too long ago. Now, and Trump tried that defense in this case. And it was ruled that no, it is not beyond the statute of limitations. It is now under appeal. Okay? Now, Trump thinks he heard the judge say something like that he's ruled or ordered that the statute of limitations would apply. Now, as soon as I heard that, and I'm watching Trump say this, and I'm watching his lawyers practically hold their nose, listening to him, and they're sweating, and they're kind of, they're kind of agreeing. And I said, that's impossible, because I read the order. Now, I just read the supplemental order, too. The judge also said too, now that they're not allowed to transfer any properties. They're not allowed to, they can't even transfer properties to a corporation out of state. Okay, they're putting serious restrictions. They're taking this very seriously. Okay, but Trump is saying something that the judge either made an order or a ruling regarding the statute of limitations in this case. And I said right away, I don't care what Trump said, that didn't happen. Okay, like if the Trump made an order or a ruling, you would find it. Okay, there would be a paper filed. Okay, you can't have an order or a ruling without it being filed. Okay, and the docket watches, you can use docket watch in this case. Okay, so I knew that didn't happen, but Trump is standing there saying that it happened. I'm saying this guy's had 5,000 lawsuits. He doesn't know what just happened in court right before his eyes 5 minutes ago. He's confused about this. That, my friends, if he believes that, he's incompetent. Now, in a normal situation, okay, there was one more instance I believe he's incompetent. But the thing is, in a normal situation, when you have a defendant, the question of the defendant's competency comes up. It's his attorneys will say to the judge, Your Honor, I can't communicate with my client. We can't, he doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying to him. I think we should have him evaluated for competency. But usually that's a public defender. Okay? Very rare that it happened in that porno guy's case, Ron Jeremy, that his attorney, his paid attorney, said, listen, my client doesn't even recognize me. He's totally incompetent to stand trial. But the issue here is that they can't defend Trump because he's going out in public making these crazy statements that I think he believes some of them. Okay? But also, too, there was another incident this week that wasn't widely reported where his lawyers were questioning a former accounting firm, and they were asking the same question over and over and over and over again for each year regarding a certain financial statement or a certain property, whatever, and it was the same answer each time. And the judge is saying, why are you doing this? There's no jury here. I'm here. Just ask him if the same answer, if it's going to be the same answer for all 20 questions, and then he'll say yes, and then we move on. Why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? The press? Are you doing it for your client? Are you doing this for Mr. Trump? Why are you doing this? Because there's no jury. When you got a jury, you perform for the jury, but you don't perform for a judge. That's insulting, by the way. Okay, you're insulting the judge by doing this, but they have to perform for their client who's insisting that they do these weird things to make the witness uncomfortable on the stand. Okay? And, I've seen that too, where a lawyer, he's got a dog of a case, but he'll go up there and he'll perform for his client, like asking tough questions and trying to embarrass the witness. Like that, like who cares, man? The guy's going to jail, or he's going to have a civil judgment, or he's going to lose custody of his kids, or whatever the case is. And you make him feel better by making the witness feel uncomfortable. Give me a break, Give me a break, man. Trump should be brought in, and I have a lawyer right now in the chat room, a former lawyer. Now, Trump should be, at this point, man, okay, his own attorneys are not going to say, hey, Your Honor, he needs to be evaluated for competency, okay? But if he really thinks these things, if he really thinks the judge says the property's worth $18 million, if he really thinks that the judge said that they made some kind of a ruling or an order on the statute of limitations, it hasn't happened yet. So very, very uncomfortable with this situation. I believe the man is incompetent to stand trial. Okay, he's not competent right now to assist in his defense. Everything he's doing is harming his own defense. All of these public tantrums on Truth Social, all this stuff, all it's doing. Yes, Trump does wear a diaper. That's what I'm getting at, guys. There's a witness on The Apprentice who says he's seen this. Plus, you can see other indications of it too. Okay. Okay, I think we can squeeze everything in. I think we can squeeze everything in. But that's one of the things. And also, too, there was another appeal today. Trump made a motion to delay. What's it called? A motion to delay the penalties. Because he's being restricted to transfer his properties and all this kind of stuff like that. And he's also being ordered to, there's brought in like a special master to oversee a receiver to oversee the transfer of these properties. But he can't even transfer them to his own relatives or anything like that. It's really, really strict. So they filed a motion today to delay all that until after the final appeal is heard. But that's going to be like 6-9 months out the gate here. There's not much hope here for Mr. Trump as far as New York goes. Because there's going to be a conviction too in the Stormy Daniels case. He just dropped his lawsuit against Michael Cohen because he didn't want to stand before a deposition, which is a smart move too. Anybody facing criminal charges, you don't want to walk into a deposition. Okay, that's insanity, man. Okay, but this guy's suing other people. I don't know what's going on here. The guy's not getting good legal advice. I'm not even a lawyer, by the way. Guys, make no mistake about this. I'm not a lawyer. Okay? But I was talking to Rob Zeidman again today, the forensic examiner who did the thing with Mike Lindell. He's not an attorney either, but we've both been around court enough that we know what we're seeing and what we're watching here. A lot of you may not know all the legal phrases and stuff like that, but you know what's going on. Okay, so there's that. Oh, yeah, something? You guys got a lot of good stuff here, man, okay? And I told you about Trump and Melania's prenup, that they renegotiated their prenup, right? I went on the air and I told you about that, right? Let me tell you something, man. That turned out to be a big, huge story all over the place, man. I told you about that first. Off the just a throwaway, I knew about that. That was a throwaway. That they renegotiated and they're trying to put that money in a trust in Barron's name, okay? Now it's like, front page news all over town. I told you that first before anybody. You guys get a lot of good content here, man, okay? And I'm not appreciated, okay? And I'm going to take my ball and my glove and I'm leaving, okay? Then the game's over because I got the ball. Okay, I'll take my bat too, all right? You have to come get it tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take the other team's bat. Try and take it away from me. I got a bat. Okay. That was that one. And then Kevin Spacey was being sued again for another rape allegation. Okay, was harassing some kind of masseuse. Who told you about Kevin Spacey first? I had Kevin Spacey's brother on here. I knew stuff about Kevin Spacey's own brother didn't know about. That was like 2014. Who told you about that first, man? Now everybody's an expert. All right. And what was the other one I told you about? Lauren Boebert and who's McCarthy, right? The speaker, the guy just got bumped. Who told you about their affair? I told you. I was hinting around about that affair for a long time, man. Go back and listen. Okay, I was hinting about it around. I know, by the way, who's the source for that affair story. Okay, and it's someone in the mix. Someone close it up with some bodily fluids and the whole mixture there. Okay, guys. All right. So it's a real, legit story. That's legit information, and you get here from me. When these other characters, I'm not Googling this stuff, man. Okay, I'm talking to people involved. Oh, how are we doing on time here? Let me see this. Now I'm upset. Okay, we're doing okay. Do I want to tell you this story about? Okay. There was another relief for college debt that came out this week, right? Now, a lot of people complaining about this, saying, "Oh, I paid my college tuition. Oh, I paid off my college loans. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They should have to pay it off too." When Victoria was little, about 6 years old, 7 years old, I had this girlfriend. And she went to school for a dental hygienist, right? Now, so she went to one of those Phoenix College type joints, and they gave her these loans for $30,000 to become a dental hygienist, and she was all excited about it. We had broken up when she made that decision, but then we had gotten back together. that was a whole bizarre relationship too, man. Because we would date, then we would break up. She'd come live with me while we weren't dating. And then, and then we'd break up, and then, we'd get back together again, and she'd go live somewhere else. Crazy relationship, man. But what a really wonderful sweetheart of a woman. She had her own kid that was a couple of years younger than Vic. Her daughter's about 5 or 6. So Vic must have been 7 or 8. So she takes these classes to become a dental hygienist. And after a short time of in the school there, she finds out that she can't do this. Okay, they're putting your fingers in these people's mouths all day long with their bad breath and their disgusting things going on, their body odor, and these old people. You got to work on their teeth, and they're filthy. You have to chip away at the. She couldn't do it. And she said, "I can't do that, Ed. I can't go back there. I can't go back there, and even another day, and go there and have people spit all over me, and wearing a mask and smelling their breath. I can't do it." But then she's stuck with this $30,000 debt, So here we have a situation now where she doesn't have to pay this debt. Now her debt's finally been forgiven after, 10, 15 years, man? You know what I mean? That was like 2015, like 13 years ago. Finally, this debt is forgiven. She doesn't have to pay it. I was going to tell you some funny stories about she was such a sweetheart. And she was skinny. She was so skinny, okay? She was so skinny that she could wear Victoria was like 7 years old. She wore Victoria's bathing suit when we would go hiking out the Calville Trail at the lake there, But also, too, we would drink all this wine, okay? She would drink Merlot, and I would drink Cabernet, so we would buy those big, giant bottles of wine. We would drink, we would each of us drink one of these old two bottles of wines, at once, And so she would get drunk, and one night she wants to wrestle me. She says, "Let's do it right here, right now." She said, "Size don't matter. Size don't matter. Let's go right here. I'll wrestle you right here." That's how we did it in Hemet. She was from Hemet, California. As a matter of fact, her parents were father's like the police chief up there. And I said, "Babe, we can't wrestle." Because the dog will go crazy and the dog will eat you alive. And she goes, "No, he won't. This dog loves me more than you." Listen, maybe you're friends with the dog. You hang out with the dog. But trust me, this dog sees me bring the food in every day. He knows who feeds him. Okay? And he will eat you alive. Okay? My dog was so protective of me and Vic. Forget it. But he did love my girlfriend. They definitely hung out together. But he knows who was feeding him, man. There's no doubt. He knew who walked him, too. It was me. Okay, so he goes, "Okay, upstairs right now." We're not going to go upstairs and wrestle, okay? So there was that whole thing there. I forget, there was a whole bunch of stories I wanted to tell you about her. Oh, she was such a fun woman. We had so many good times together, man. I remember one time we went hiking, me, Vic, and we went hiking with her at Calville Trail. And with Vic, we used to shoot off rockets and, fireworks and stuff like that. I was a fun dad. And I says, "You know what? Let's build a fire, and we'll take one of these cans of propane, and we'll stick it in the fire, and it'll blow up." And she goes, "What? No way, we're not doing that." I said, yeah, don't worry, no, I know how to do this. I used to do this stuff when I was a kid. We'll do it around the corner there, okay? But we'll be able to see the fireball when it blows up. But don't worry, because there's enough rocks in the way. "No way, you're not allowed. You can't do it. You can't do it." Oh, God. I tell you, man, I've had some fun times, man. I've had some good times. Good memories. But I got to tell you something, man. It's amazing. Lost a listener to our show this week. She's been listening from the start. She was a cancer survivor, a kidney transplant. She was a rock and roller. She was in this band called Uzza, Uzza. And she and her partner in the band looked like David Lee Roth. And at one point they were married, but they got divorced, but they were still in the band together and they were best friends. And she's been listening to the show way back since Revolution Radio days. Okay, my first show back on Thursday morning on an internet radio station, which, by the way, is out of business now. You know, I'm the last man standing on so many levels, on so many things. You have no idea, but not for long. Okay, and she's been listening to me all this time, 10 long years. And just one of these people who listen to the show. I got some people that listen to this show that are so cool, so creative, such kind, beautiful people. You know, artists, musicians. You know, I went last week and I had some questions about firearms sales and stuff like that. I got a couple of messages. Hey Ed, I've been listening forever. Let me tell you, blah blah blah. I got a call from an attorney friend of mine who listens to the show. And he says, because I said something about, I says, they're called statements of financial condition. But when I was in New York, we used to call them affidavits of financial condition. So I didn't understand. He says, oh, no, Ed, when you're applying for a loan, they're called statements. But in court, they're called affidavits of financial condition. So they're still called affidavits when you're in court. But in, you know, applying for a loan, they're called statements of financial condition, even though sometimes they're notarized. That's just what they're called. So he corrected me. And you can, if I'm wrong, come correct me. Okay, if I get something wrong, you know, I'm fine with that. I'm not I'm going to start making things up and get mad at you, you know. But is an incredibly beautiful, talented woman fighting cancer. Again, it was a cancer relapse, you know, because she had. I forget when you call it when you're free of cancer, you get out of it and, you know, benign or whatever. And then it came back. And they were treating it, and she didn't actually die from the cancer. She died from complications from the treatment of the cancer, I guess like a staph infection or something of that nature. Which is just so heartbreaking, you know, because they come up with these scientific theories and plans. Hey, if everything's done correctly and this is how you do it, it works. But no one does everything the way it's supposed to be done. They're just so lazy and sloppy and just, you know, incompetent. They hire incompetent people, don't know what they're doing. People don't care, you know, and screw everything up. When it just so much could be so simple and well run, but just people just have no self-respect and no dignity for their pride of their work anymore, you know. I'd like to hear some of her music because she was an incredibly talented musician. So I'm going to play that for you now, and you can look it up. Uzza, U-Z-Z-A. Her name was Tabitha Predovich, and they were in a previous band too. This song here actually is from a previous band she was in. That was I don't know if I could find it. Or maybe I could find it if I really looked. I'll try to find it while I'm playing this song. But she's incredibly talented. She's like a punk rock, like B-52s. So that's a little tribute here to Tabitha.
So quiet, I hate me.
Well, you can see, man, incredibly talented woman, man, incredibly talented band, so check them out. You know, I've experienced so much death in the past 5 years or so. We've done several shows in the past year of all the people we've lost from this show. And you never know when death is coming. And it doesn't all come at once. Like, there's going to be a last time you see an old friend, you know, and that last time has already occurred. You're not going to see him before he passes or you pass. There's going to be a last time you've done something. Like the last time I would swim 3 miles, I'm probably never going to be able to do that again in my life, you know. Or run a marathon, you know. I'm probably never going to be able to do that kind of stuff again. There's hills and mountains that we've climbed in the past that we may never be able to do again. That's already dead to us in our life. We may not be physically dead, but those experiences are gone to us forever. And that's happening in stages, little by little, to all of us every day. We got to cherish, okay, every blessing that we have, every moment that we have, rather than focusing so much on envy and jealousy and unreturned love and affection, or, you know, unreturned, you know, I don't know what to say, but I would like to once again just tell you what an incredible woman Tabitha was. Just always an inspiration, especially when I was talking to her recently, when I saw she was fighting this, you know, and I says, boy, this is such an encouragement, because I'm fighting things too. And I did this week, I was telling you all last week about my tears, you know, the different tiers on Patreon, about not my tears for not fulfilling my obligations on a certain project that was brought into, and I resigned from that project now entirely. I'm just not up for it, man. Just not up for it. You know, just things I could do just a short time ago, I can't do now. Things I could do just a couple of years ago, I can't do now. And I got to face that. You know, I'm not saying that I can't make a comeback and, you know, put the band together again like the Blues Brothers, but it can't happen. It does happen sometimes, but it's not in the cards at this week. Okay. And there's major things that I'm sitting at home watching on the news, saying, "Boy, man, I'm could be part of that, man. I could be part of that right now, and I could make that happen, or I could stop that from happening." And I just don't have the support. You know, I don't have the support. I don't have the help. I don't have the encouragement, even. You know, as a matter of fact, and for anything, all I have is constant discouragement, and constant harassment, and constant stalking, and constant defamation, you know, constantly, you know. So, you know, you think you're hurting me, but you're really hurting. I mean, in some cases, you're hurting yourself. There's a few people here standing in the way of the cattle cars, man, okay? There's a few people. And I got to tell you something else, man. When I'm looking around, okay, and like I said, I had this project. And I'm looking around. How do I pull this off? Do you want to know what, man? There is no one in alternative media or alternative reporting or alternative publishing or any of these alternative talkers, podcasters, and talkers that are a damn worth of anything to get anything concrete done. They're a waste of freaking time. I don't even think of trying to, hey, maybe this guy can help me. Not even consideration. You know? Not even a consideration. A waste of time, a waste of breath. When we could be accomplishing real things. But you know, these people are a waste. This breaks my freaking heart, man. All right, guys, we're out of time. Coming up next after this will probably be my Memory Down Yippee Lane with Mr. Sean Howard, I think it is, the guy about the Tom Forsyth Tom Prasad, High Times Magazine publisher. He's the founder of High Times Magazine. And Tabitha, wherever you are, man, we love you. Thank you so much, talented woman, and good night.
Everyone has gone away. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No one cared enough to stay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You must remember me, oh man. I know that you can if you try. So just open up